Welcome back to Not So Grand Garage. Tonight we're out in the fuel shed and we're going to attempt our first small batch run. I've got this pump set up, kind of cobbled together to be able to fill the bucket up, but I'm able to set the pump height in the tote so I can pull from just a couple inches down, which works out pretty well. But yeah, I'm gonna fill this bucket up. This will be our first run, so this is just gonna flush out the bucket and all the fittings and stuff, and just make sure everything works how we intend it to, so we can get some real testing done. So let's get at it. Well, let's see how this works. Full yet? Pretty close. Give it a couple more rotations here and call it good. Not too bad. Go on and bring you guys up here. There we are. So I'll leave this open a little bit so it can vent, obviously. But we should be ready to go. So got the bowl cleaned out a little bit. I'm not going to take the time to make it spotless because there's no point. But yeah, I've got everything set up, so I'm going to start this batch and see if we spring any leaks or make a giant mess. Well, we're all set up. Like I showed you, the bucket's full. I've got our clean drain bucket right here. That's just going to, should, if all goes well, should come out of the P-trap, come down, and with that valve down here shut off, should flow out of this hose and into this bucket. But we'll see if it works or not, and see if this P-trap works like it's supposed to. Yeah, a lot of unknowns, but we'll see here in just a minute.
You can't forget about trash.
Yeah. don't see any steam venting as of yet. So I don't see it coming out of the outlet hose of the centrifuge, so it's got to be going somewhere. So let's take a look around. I'm gonna pull the sludge hose out of the bucket and see if we're getting any steam out down there either. So we have no steam coming out of the outlet of the centrifuge now. But not sure if you'll be able to see it on camera or not. There's a good bit of pressure, and yeah, there you go. It's starting to drip a little bit from condensation coming out of the sludge line. So that'll be all right. Let's see if I can. Oh, there we go. You kind of see it coming out now. Pretty substantial amount of steam. So I think in the near future, instead of running this to this bucket inside, I'm going to extend this line, run it outside, and maybe run it to a 55-gallon drum or an empty tote or something like that. And that'll also keep me from having issues if we ever have a power outage and the centrifuge stalls, especially with this 6,000 RPM unit. Any flicker in power will shut this drive off, from what I've been told. And when this stops spinning, all of the oil is then going to go out the sludge drain because it's going to overflow the bowl. But yeah, running this outside to a drum or something like that would get all the smell outside and give me a little safety factor there on if I ever have a problem. At least I won't be dumping 50 plus gallons of oil in the floor of my ship. But yeah, seems to be working really well. It's definitely putting out a lot of steam. I can see it now. I'll hold the light up over here. It's just getting warmed up, so I'll let this thing run for a little bit and see how much the steam output increases, and we'll go from there. No moisture at all coming out of this end now. I went on and stuck the hose through the wall because it was getting rather stinky inside, and it's steaming pretty good. Probably can't see it on camera, but yeah, definitely getting foggy over here. Now doing what I did, just knocked the hole through the wall, stuck the hose outside. Obviously when I go to shut this down, I'll pull the hose back in, stick it in the sludge bucket before I shut it down. That way the sludge and water can drain off into the bucket instead of outside. For now, I will, like I said, I will be changing that drain setup. Just get it outside, and that's going to solve a couple issues. But yeah, so far so good. We're running at a good pace. Not getting any moisture in the bucket. There's no smell at all in here now that's outside. It would appear that air is being drawn in from this side and dumped out the sludge vent. So that's cool. I'll probably take this hose off or run this hose outside too. May put a valve on it or something to control the airflow through it. So I've seen that done on a couple other companies' centrifuges. But yeah, so far so good. We'll let it finish running and see how it goes. Just checking some temperatures for giggles. And on the outlet fitting, we're showing 171, 172, 176. The canister itself, 129, 122, 124, 82, 106. 84, but we're still showing 125, 130 degrees in the bucket. So it's kind of interesting. I've got the heater set on 200-ish, so I'd say it's pretty close. But yeah, no steam coming out of this. I took that hose off, nothing coming out of this, and quite a bit of steam coming out outside, which I'll walk around there and show you right now. Not sure if you'll be able to see it or not, but there is steam rolling out of that tube over there. So, seems to be working as it should. Well, after right around an hour, we're starting to taper off to a trickle. Here, let me get a light on this subject. But yeah, no brown, no sludge, no nothing in this bucket. So I'm gonna let this finish up. There's not much left, and then I'll have to pull this tube here back inside and stick it in the sludge bucket down here, and then we will shut everything down and take a look at the results. Obviously, I'm not really running this as a test of what is taken out of the oil. I know what this thing can do. This is more of just testing this process before I start doing small batch testing, comparing different filtration methods and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'll let this finish up and drain out as much as I can out of the lines, and we'll see what we're left with. So in about an hour's time, we were able to run the full 5-gallon batch, which was pretty well the flow rate I was shooting for. 5 gallons an hour is about what I run when I'm running a big batch. So that worked out really well. That was approximately half open on the ball valve on the bucket. The valve setup I've got on that bucket's pretty small, so that's going to restrict the flow down pretty nicely. So should be easy to get consistent flow out of that setup. And as you can tell, there's not much loss as far as total volume. Very little loss. On a side note, I did pull from this tote right here, which this tote has been sitting in here just as long as that one back there had, so approximately a year. And yeah, like I said, I'm pulling from probably about a foot down inside the tote, and you saw how I filled it up. So now that this has spun down, we're going to go on and open it up. Fair amount of stuff in the bowl. Not nearly as much moisture and sludge as a 55-gallon batch, obviously. But yeah, it looks like this setup's going to work out pretty well. So I'm going to set this bowl, or set this lid off of here a little bit better, and see if I can grab my spoon and scrape around in there and see what kind of sludge we pulled out of a 5-gallon batch. pretty consistent, I'd say 1/4 inch thick layer of sludge, maybe a little thinner, maybe 3/16 thick layer all the way around the bowl. So yeah, quite a bit of stuff out of just a 5-gallon batch. Now that everything's shut down, I'm just gonna give a quick look over for leaks. All these different connections that I've made. I don't see anything dripping or anything like that. I see a little bit of residue from previously, but let's see here. Looks like we're good there. Now, I'm going to open this valve up right here, which should let this little bit of oil here go on and drain down into this container, which worked just fine. And that'll be fine because I will be doing multi-passes on all of the oil that goes through this drum. So if a cup or two of oil only gets in a single pass, that's fine. It's not gonna hurt anything. But yeah, really pleased with how this has turned out. Now, I should be able to do big batches still just the same way. As long as I keep this valve shut while this is running, this hose will not be able to back up and like overfill the bucket or anything crazy. And with how this is set up over here, this being angled up, as long as this valve down here is open, oil should flow just fine right down into this drum here. That'll be the next test that'll be the next system test to make sure my big batches still work just fine, which I'm sure they will, but that won't happen until this weekend. But yeah, now I'm really interested in running some tests, so I might come back out here later tonight and start with the 1 micron filter bag test. I know a lot of people are interested in seeing the results of that test, and so am I. As far as filtration goes, that's pretty well the go-to. It's cheap and supposedly really effective, so we're gonna find out. Find out if all this nonsense out here is worth it, or if you can just get away with running a $10, $15 bag filter and going with it. Hey, if it works, it works, you know what I mean? So yeah, with all that stuff said, I'm going to get cleaned up out here, and I got some stuff to do in the house. And then if I get time, I will come back out and on the single batch test or the small batch test, I will be cleaning this centrifuge out really well because I want to be able to take weights before and after to see really be able to see what kind of stuff we're pulling out after each test. Obviously, it's going to be a lot less than the 55-gallon batches that I've tested prior, but it should give us a good idea of what's working and what's not. So yeah, if you have any questions, comments, complaints, drop them in the comment section below. Like I said in the other video, if you've got any suggestions or want to see anything specifically tested, I've already had a request to do like the canister style water filters. If I can find 1 or 2 housings cheap, I've still got some of the filter elements from when I used to use them. So we'll see, I might throw something together and just gravity feed 5 gallons through that, and then run it through the centrifuge and see how it works. Who knows? But got a lot of testing to do. So yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe. We appreciate you watching. Oh, almost forgot something really important. Want to go on and thank everybody that's been giving me suggestions on how to improve my process overall. Yes, I have been doing this for a long time. No, I don't know everything, and I am always willing to learn more. So I appreciate you all. The P-trap idea It's working great. It will definitely keep all the moisture out of this drum down here, which I was having trouble with before. I was venting it outside, but obviously I would still be getting moisture in this drum. With the P-trap set up, I'm not gonna have that problem anymore. But yeah, so I'm learning from you guys just as much as you guys are learning from me, and I appreciate it.